Hello, and welcome to another tutorial by myself, and I'll be showing you how to create a racing game. Now, I've got one that I created earlier, but the graphics are that brilliant, so here we go, test, and play. There we go. Here's the game. You see this is the car down here, and these are the enemies coming at me. You see we've got seconds here, so there should be more spawning and coming at me. See, so I can move left to right, so imagine driving down a road and avoiding these guys. And the game does get progressively harder, and I lose. And there we go, I've lost quite a few times. So yeah, so we're going to have a go at making that. So I'm going to create a new document. So to start with, I'm going to upload my sprites. So I'm going to upload player car. Load sprite. I'm going to upload player car, which is looking in that direction, and click OK. Oh, one thing I'd like to note: this is at 60 by 40 pixels, and actually I'm going to center that, but I'm going to move this. Actually, I'm going to leave it at center. Yeah, I'll leave it at center like that for now. Press OK, and I'm going to create. Yeah, while I'm using this, you could also go resources and create sprite here, but I like using the buttons here. So there's sprite. Whenever you create one, it doesn't go where you click cancel. That's the one thing that I find really annoying. And my apologies for the sound. It's very windy here today. So yes, so we've got a bad car. Keep it nice and simple. I know what this is. Very stereotypical. Load this up, and we've got red car. There he is, and he is 50 by 30. He is going to grow in size, and those are the sizes I want. So if you want to follow mine quite carefully, you might want to make sure that's the width and height of this. If you don't, if you want to make a few calculations or alterations yourself, that's absolutely fine. Again, center. I'm going to click OK. And another thing we're going to load up is the background. Again, you can go to resources and click background, or you can use these here. I'm going to click there, and I'm just going to call this road. Load background, and actually I want this one, the straight line. I did look into if you can have a GIF background of the lines moving, so it looks like momentum, but unfortunately you can't really do that with GameMaker without going into complicated code. So you can see this is by 800 by 480 pixels. So there you go, there's my background, so that's quite alright. And I'm actually going to have to make a note with 800 by 480, so I'm actually going to write that down. That is going to play a very important part later on, and it's always good, especially if you're trying to calculate like what the character is in the middle and how he jumps from here to here. So make it nice rounded numbers. So I'm going to click OK. So there we go, we've got the main elements working. You could add sounds, but for now I'm just going to keep it to a nice simple game here. So we've created these, so let's get started. All we need for now is just the two characters, and then we're going to have another object which is spawning the enemy, and it will include a tiny bit of line of code, but that is absolutely fine. And I think we also need to make, let's first of all make the room ready, because I also need to make a quick note of the spawning point. So if we go to room, let's get this all ready. So I believe that's script. There we go, create a room. And objects, backgrounds, here we go. And I want the road. Now this is quite important. If I hover my mouse over the top here, we can see we've got the coordinates here. So if I move it down a bit, maybe he spawns about there, 400 by 6, so make a good note of that. Spawn X 400 by Y 600. I'm showing you how to do this so that if you make a very different design, the backgrounds and everything, you can see how I'm making note of this now, because the spawning point is going to be right there and it's going to spawn our enemies going down in these directions. So let's leave that. Actually going to go to settings, and instead of room I'm going to call it road rage. That was a nice name, road rage. But yeah, that's be fine. So click that, and now we can get started on making the actual object. So I'm going to click on this button here, create object. Again, you go to resources and create the object, but let's get this done quite quickly. So now we have object, so this is going to be my player, and we're going to have the player car. We'll throw that right in there. And we also want to start making movement. So I'm going to use my left and right keys. So I'm going to click add event. Let's see, on key press, so I just press it. So when I go left, he goes to left. Now with the left key there, we're going to go to a jump movement. So we've got, let's have a look. I wanted it to jump to a position, so yeah, here we go, jump. And move this here so you can see. So we want it to jump X. So let's say X, that's a positive, well we want this to go left, so that's being minus number. So we want minus, let's say 200 for this. And we'll click relatives, because we're doing relatives. We're not just going to do 200, it's going to go minus 200 for where it is. And Y, that's fine. So I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to do exactly the same for the right. So let's add event, and key press, and it's going to be right. I'll go jump movement, and this one is going to be minus, oh actually sorry, plus 200, there we go. And again, relative. Click OK. And that's all that's needed really for the player car. That's all you need to do. So I'm going to click OK, go into Road Rage Room, and I'm going to place my car dead center there, so it's nice and happy there. It's quite a small car actually. You could increase the scale of it, but for this exercise I'm just going to leave it right there. And click OK, and test this out. It's loading. As you may notice, I've got a new screen, and it may not look tidy, but it's much tidier than it was before. And there's the car. Ooh. Screen's a bit small, so I'm going to have to change that. But you see, the way it's moving, it is much better. I could actually get away with a much bigger car, but for this it's okay. So I'm going to have to make a change to the background. So it's good that I make these mistakes now. So let's have a look. With background and speed. Here we go, settings. So the width, height is perfect, but the width, let's see, the width is too short. It needs to be 800. If you remember before, we said to 800, so that's okay. So now if I play this again, always test your game, always go to test things. It's loading. It should be in the center, but I'm doing this in the corner here. I feel my screen is a bit too big. I've upgraded to a 23 screen. So yeah, that is absolutely spot on. So there we go, and the car's moving. And that's all you need for the car. You could, if you wanted, change it to an animation of a car. So when you press a key, it'll activate the animation. At the end of the animation, it'll move. So it is possible to do that, but just for this exercise, I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. Now we're going to go into the main element, in which I'm going to open up my notes that I made earlier. We're going to want to look at the enemy. So, and again, apologies for the background noise. So we're going to quickly create another object, and this one is going to be, let's see, bad, just bad car. And then we're going to go bad car, and that's all we need to do for that. Now we've got to get it to have a fixed movement. So when it comes on, it moves. So add event, move this here, create. So as soon as it's created, we're going to have a nice fixed movement. So I'm going to bring this on, move this up here so you can see. Now this is a good one. We want to randomly pick if it's going to go to the side, or going bottom side, bottom middle, and bottom other side. So I'm going to click all three of these. It's going to stick to those. It's going to randomly select them. So I'm going to set the speed to 3, and it's going to move down. You don't need to be relative. It's fine. That is fine as it is. So, okay. So the next thing we want to do, we want it to execute some code. So we want it to increase its size. It's usually, I think in a previous tutorial, we managed to use a transform here, but that only transforms it once. We want the car to come towards us. So as soon as it starts, I'm going to set its scale. So we want to execute code, so main tab, where is the, control, there it is, code. So we want to execute code. Oop, this has gone incredibly, this is filling up my screen, but you can see the main part here, which is the most important thing. So I'm going to go image underscore x scale, one word, plus and equal to, oh sorry, wrong bit of code there, I'm reading the wrong part, equal and minus to 0.1. So I'm saying you're equal to minus 0.1. If I did it minus and then equal, it will decrease the size of my car. But this way you're setting it to a very tiny car, so it's going to be 0.1 of its actual size that it currently is now. So I'm going to do that again. Image underscore y scale this time, because we want to keep it in proportion, keep it proportion, equal and minus to 0.1. And that's it. That's all the code you need for the create. So I'm going to click OK. And oh my goodness, it is really windy here. So the next thing we want to do, we want it to grow in size. I want to do that to do over a period of time. So I'm going to go to add events, step. So every game millisecond it's going to increase in size. So again, step. And in here, again, I'm going to execute some code. And in this one, again, image underscore x. Oop. Scale. And this time we're going to increase it, so plus and then equal to. So it's growing, so we need the plus first, then the equals. And it's going to be 0.025. I did a few tests earlier, and it took me a while to get this just right. In other settings, it was just ginormous. So again, I'm going to do this with this little y scale. So image underscore y scale plus or equal to 0.025. And that's it in terms of code. That's a nice little bit of code. I did have to Google that for quite a while because this was really getting on my wick here, this whole thing. So now we've got to add the collision, so when it hits a player, destroys it. So we're going to add event collision player. And now we're going to set the collision, we're going to get it to first of all destroy our character, destroy the player. So main one, destroy instance, and make sure you set to other, because we don't want the enemy to destroy itself. So that's okay. Okay. You could, if you wanted to, if you've got loads of other things it's hitting, you could be a bit more specific and go object player, but it's not relevant for now because I've only got the two objects, the enemy and the player. That's all I got colliding with each other. So there we go. So now all we need to do, well, we want to have a bit of a pause so we can realise, I just lost. Oh dear. So I'm going to go to main 2, click on the snooze, and I'm going to leave it to 1000 milliseconds. That's equivalent to, I guess, 10 seconds, I think. You may have to do the maths. And set to true, so that's absolutely fine. we also want to display a message so we know what's happening. So in info, I've got display message. And in here, I'm going to type the message. I'm going to be very harsh and go, you lose. Okay. And then we want to show the score, because there is going to be a score in this later. So we'll go to Score tab, Show High Score, and I will set the font to, where is it? Arial. I enjoy that. You could change and add backgrounds and show border and things like that, but I'm going to be very, very lazy and just leave it like that for now and go OK. And then, finally, of course, we've got to restart the room. So, main 2, nope, control, no. Is it main 1? Yes. Main 1 tab, and it's rooms down here, and we want to restart the current room, so it's the last one here on the first row. And you could add a transition, but I'm going to leave it as it is. And that's it, that's all you need to do for, I think that's all you need to do for the enemy. Oh, of course, one other thing as well I forgot to mention, just checking my notes here. Once the enemy hits the outside of the room, we want to give ourselves a score, which would be really nice. So, add event, other, outside room. So when it hits the outside of the room, when it hits the bottom and goes off the page, something's going to happen, and we're going to give ourselves a score. And I'm going to be very generous. There we go, set score. I'm going to give myself 100. I'm going to make it relevant, otherwise it's just going to keep 100 all the time instead of adding 100. Let's go OK. And one other thing we've got to do, we want it to destroy itself. So I'm going to go to main 1, destroy instance and self, and that's it. That is all you have to do for the enemy car. Just going to click OK. Now there's two other things. The next one is important, it's a spawner, and the other is a bit of an extra which I like to add in, which I will be showing you. So with the spawner, we don't need any of the symbols or any of the sprites. If you've seen one of my previous fighting tutorials, you see that spawner just has the object and you can use it to call up other objects, and we're going to be doing that. So I'm going to create a new object. I'm going to call this one spawner. Always very, very, very good to name things. And here, add event, and we're going to go create, and we're going to set a variable. Okay, so I just find where all this is. Let's draw extra, nope, score, nope, control, here he is, variables. I love the way that GameMake has set these like other questions. It makes it so much easier when you keep forgetting where things are. So we're going to set a variable, and the variable is going to be called spawn. I'm going to set the value to 50. So there we go, set spawn value to 50. And now we're going to create a step. So add event, step, step. And here we're going to execute a little piece of code where why I want to do this one that's very different to a previous fighting game I created. I want the spawner to gradually increase the number of the spawnings. So over time it's going to get faster and faster and faster and much harder to play the game, because at this current value it's too easy. It's much too easy. So I'm going to execute some code. So luckily I'm in code here, and here we're going to say, let's see, spawn, which is a variable we just created, is minus and equal to, that's a very, very low number, 0.005. I may change this number, so you may want to change this number if you find it too easy or too hard, so be very much aware of it. To make it much quicker and harder, for the spawns to happen at a much faster scale, you want to increase that number, so you may want to change that to 1 there. But you will see how quickly it gets harder. I may even lower this number. So there we go, there's that code. And next we want a test chance. So here we go, test chance. And what I'm going to set it to with this one is spawn. So it's going to call up that code and activate it. So it's going to be the value of 50. And of course the value is going to decrease. So then it gets much quicker. So imagine you got a 50-sided dice, and it's 1 out of 50 that our enemy is going to spawn. So we've got there's a high number of chances it's not going to hit us. But as the game progresses, that number is going to decrease little by little over time. So then eventually it's going to spawn much faster. You'll see how fast it does it. So go OK. Well, actually you saw in the first example. So of course after this we wanted to actually create the enemy. So if we go into main 1, we've got create. I'm going to set the object to bad car. Now remember earlier we did use our noted origin points, and I do believe it was X by 400, and I think the Y was 160. Yeah, I did believe it was 160. So there we go. So that's a nice number. We don't need it relative because that's just it. That is where you're going to be. It's not in correlation with anything. It's not where you actually are. That's it. So do not tick relative. So that's okay. So we're going to give this a bit of a test run. Just check my notes, see if there's anything. Nope, nothing else to make. So click OK, and I'm actually going to go into Road Rage, and I'm going to pop the spawner in the room. I'm going to pop it there. I'll click OK. Let's see. Play. Eventually this will load up. I always hate this. It is so much slower when you're recording as well. So there's our car. Here we go. Here's oh, 2 of them. Okay, he comes in the middle, so it is randomly selecting, and oh, this is, yeah, this it's much too hard. So okay, fix. Okay, I'm going to escape that, and I'm actually going to go to spawner and step, and I believe it was this piece of code. I'm going to set that to 1, so it's 0.001. So that's okay. Let's give it another test run, because we want people to, you know, get a feel of the game, especially if they're starting out, and then eventually get into the whole, oh, I almost did this, I could do this, I can do it again and again and again and again. We want people to have that false sense of security. So, oh dear, this is, okay, I can sit in the middle here. Just wonder if I can increase the speed of these cars. Oh, this is not good. If one comes at the side now, okay, I'm driving up the side here, and oh no, I couldn't get out of that. I don't like the speed in which these cars are moving at, so that's another thing I'm going to set up. So a bad guy car, and create, and there's this move. I'm going to increase that to 5. Okay. Let's try that again. I guess it's good that you're seeing that I'm making these mistakes and I'm going, don't like that, so that if you wanted to make these changes yourself and personalize your game, you can do that. So there he goes. It's much quicker, and this is a much nicer speed. He's up, off. So there you go. Oh, lows there. That, out of the way. Gives me a better chance of getting out of the way. You do have to consider the gameplay in this. Oh, good. Oh, I couldn't get out of that. I think it's spawning a bit too soon, so if I had time, or if I put a bit more time into it, I would play around with the spawnings. But for this exercise, you know what to do. You know how to play with the settings. You can do that. Now, for the extra bit so you know, okay, I want to go for time. I'm going to put something a little extra into this. So I'm going to create another object, and this one is going to be called timer. You may remember this from a previous tutorial on, as I said, fighting game. So I'm going to add event, and once it's in here, we're going to create, and we're going to execute time code. So I'm going to go to, I think it's extra, no, it's control, and code. Then we go to this massive window, which for some reason I cannot scale down. And we'll go time is equal to, let's see, let's do it for a minute. Actually, I'm going to do it for about 30 seconds. That's going to be harsh. Let's go, okay, time is equal 30. And I'm also going to set an alarm. So where is it? Score, control. Try to look for the time. Ah, here we go, timing. That's always good. And I'm going to set alarm. And we're going to set this to 60. It's going to be alarm 0. So, okay. So that bit's done. And now we're going to draw in the actual time. So I'm going to add event, draw. And here we're going to set the color of a variable. So I'm going to go to the Draw tab. I'm going to set the color. And what color should I set it to? I think a red will stand out nicely. So click red. It's a red color. So that's going to be my time. Well, actually, can I make it? I'll make it black. See, I'm playing around with these colors here, but you can do different kinds of colors. So we got set color. Now I actually want to draw the variable. So we're going to go into, where are we? Control, here we go, variables. I want the last one, which is all slightly yellow. And you can hover over it and it goes draw. And we're going to draw the variable. So this one is going to be time. And I'm just thinking XY position, I think X, which is left to right. I think I can move that in about 100. And the Y, I'm going to make that 100 as well. You can always play around with this if you wanted. Finally, we're going to get the alarm, so add event, and we want alarm 0, which is the one we created in create, and we're going to execute code, which is actually going to decrease time by 1. So we want code, and we're going to say time here is equal to and minus 1. So there we go. So click OK. And then we're going to set the alarm and set it to 60. So where is it? It's in main 2. Set alarm, and again, well, actually I set to 30, didn't I? So always make sure it's the same, otherwise you might have a bit of a hiccup. So I'm going to click OK. That's all you need to do for time, and go OK. Oh, one more thing was, I guess with timer. Let's see. I guess if the time ends, you could set it so, yeah, actually I'm going to set a step so that's, yeah, I'm going to add event step, so that is looking out, is checking, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Or in some cases, are we there yet? Are we there yet? So go through controls, yeah, I want the variable. Oh, actually cancel that. I want the test variable, so it's testing to see if the following is true. So I'm going to right click here and I'm going to test time is equal to 0. So when it's 0, it's going to perform the following. So I'm going to click OK, and then we're going to bring in this little guy here, a block. So it's, what this does, it tests this and then it executes this code if this is correct. So it knows I need to do all this now. It doesn't just go through them, it does only this block. So we're going to first of all destroy the car. So object, and we're going to set it to player. Okay. And then we're going to sleep. So main 2 and sleep. And I'm always very lazy, I'm just going to leave it as it is and go OK. And of course, display the message, and I'm going to say great job, so they survived. Okay, and you could actually, I'm going to set the high score. So where is the high score? It's in score tab, of course. Set the high score, and again I don't like your own tabs. I think it's ironically lazy, so there's the Arial font. Okay. And then of course we're going to restart the current room. So where are we? And I'm trying to find the main one. Yeah, it's main one. So restart the current room. Okay. And finally we want to end this block. When you start one, make sure you end it. So this will be a nice little time. So click OK. Now I'm going to go to Road Rage, and we're also going to just pop our time there. Click OK, and let's give this its final test run. Loading, loading, loading. There we go. So we've got a car and okay, that's just set goes straight to -1. I think there's a little glitch there, and oh my goodness, these are coming in so quickly. So I think I know what I did wrong there. I'm going to go into timer, and let's see, alarm, execute code. Yep, my own fault there. I did this the wrong way around. It's, there you go, minus and equal to. It's my own fault there. Play. Again, it's good that I make this mistake so you can learn from my mistakes. There you go, so hopefully, yeah, there we go, we've got it. Of course, I want to play around with this setting so I don't get as many cars spawning, but that's something you can easily play around. You see me play around the setting. I'm lasting 15 seconds. Can I last 9, 8? Is it doable? Can I last till 4, 3, 2? Yes! I did it. I finally win the game by making it 20 seconds. So, yes, it is possible to win the game. It is possible to lose a game. And there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial on how to make a perspective 2D car game. Feel free to tweak this up and add, I don't know, add animations, add maybe petrol so you get a boost or you get extra lives. So many things you can do with this. But feel free to leave comments and enjoy.